You know, I'm not mad. I'm not angry. I'm really excited, by the way. Not because it's Halloween, but because we are so close to Election Day. I believe that until Election Day is over, everything else gets overshadowed. Whether it's a 50th birthday, whether it's a Halloween celebration, whatever it is you got going on in your life, anniversary, birth of a child. I'm sorry, folks. It's got until next Wednesday. All eyes are on Election Day. Until next Wednesday morning, it's all about getting out to vote, vote, vote. And man, we've got some amazing stuff going on today. Look, it's Halloween. And I'm going to be honest with you, if you're watching on the internet, if you're watching on Rumble, or if you're watching us on any of our social platforms, YouTube is a big one we got. X is another one, and Facebook, of course, we love our Facebook fans, even though Facebook doesn't love us. But if you're watching on the platform, you see me in all my Halloween glory, and you see that I'm donning my Donald Trump red tie, my Donald Trump white shirt, my Donald Trump wig and visor, and of course the iconic now blue MAGA Donald's, that's like McDonald's, but MAGA Donald's apron that Donald Trump wore. This is an official apron, by the way. I spent weeks, ever since Donald Trump went to McDonald's and he stood there and they put on the apron and he took off his coat and he went to the drive-thru window. He was handing out fries to everybody. Ever since that moment, you know what I did? I searched for the official Donald Trump apron from McDonald's and I found one and I got it shipped to me and I found the tie and I got the hair and I got everything. And I spent the last 2 weeks. Trying to piece together the perfect Donald Trump McDonald's Halloween costume. And then what does Donald Trump go and do the night before? He becomes a garbage man, which is like, and I'm not hating on him. If he wants to be a garbage man, that's fantastic. And God love him. And it seems to be working for him and all of it. Now, luckily, even though Donald Trump changed professions a mere 12 hours before I was going to don my Halloween costume, which I thought, again, I'm not bragging, but I was very proud of this costume. And this apron is high quality. I didn't know the McDonald's aprons were such high quality. Now, luckily for me, there is a Home Depot just like a mile away from my home. Maybe that's why they call it Home Depot. Lucky for me, there's a Home Depot just like a mile away. So I was able to procure for myself the Donald Trump vest that he wore when he did his duty as a trash man. And so look at this, quick change. I now have not one iconic Halloween costume. I have two. Let me just put this all on. If you're listening to the podcast, what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to put this over my head. There we go. I got a big head. So look at this. So now I can be either Donald Trump, MAGA Donald's worker, or Donald Trump garbage man taking out the trash, aka Kamala Harris. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? This is who knew that there would be not one but two iconic opportunities for people to present themselves as the greatest president of all time during one of the most amazing campaigns this country has ever seen. Who knew that would be happening? But man, it is happening, and it is really phenomenal. What's up? This is Mark Kaye Saves the Republic, by the way. And do me a favor quickly, comment below if you're watching on Facebook or if you're watching on YouTube, and especially if you're one of our Rumblers watching on Rumble. I want to know, Patriots, wherever you happen to be, which costume do you prefer? Do you prefer the costume that is me dressed as Donald Trump, the garbage man? Or do you prefer the costume that is me dressed as Donald Trump from MAGA Donald's? Go ahead and give us your opinion in the comments. I'd love to know it. And if you're listening on Spotify, iTunes, hey, listen, don't forget to subscribe. Now's the perfect time to subscribe. Now's the perfect time to let us know and let everybody know and let the platform you're listening to know that you love this content. You want more of this content. You appreciate this content, whether it's video, audio, whatever it is, you're enjoying it. You want to spread the word, and please do share as well. If you're already subscribed, because there's people that say, Mark, you always tell us to subscribe, but we're all subscribed. Not true. I get new subscribers every single day. There's people out there, can you believe it, that haven't heard yet about what we're doing here, haven't heard about our mission. They don't know that I come in here at Mark-a-Lago and I walk into Patriot HQ and I broadcast Mark Kaye Saves the Republic every single day at noon Eastern, 11 Central. They don't know that yet. And that's why every single day we need to spread the word and share the message so that we can get more and more Patriots, a bigger and bigger Patriot army, so that we can do what we want to do. And that is, of course, save the Republic. Now, before we get into Donald Trump, there's a lot going on today. Before we get into Donald Trump and the trash stuff, which, by the way, I mean, it's it's really phenomenal. What Donald Trump and his campaign have been able to do is capitalize on every misstep that Joe Biden and the Kamala Harris campaign have done. Every time there's a negative, they spin it into a positive. And I want you to think about where we were just a couple days ago. We were in New York City watching the Donald Trump rally at Madison Square Garden, and we were all excited about it. And all of a sudden, Tony Hinchcliffe came on, and he made that joke. He made that joke about Puerto Rico being a floating pile of garbage, and everybody in the media was like, oh my God, Donald Trump's favorite comedian said that Puerto Rico's a pile of garbage, and oh my God, Donald Trump hates Puerto Ricans and he thinks that they're all trash. None of that is true, of course, but that's what they were saying. Within 24 hours, maybe 48 hours, Joe Biden comes out and changes the entire narrative of the campaign, probably changed history.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
And with that one comment, the narrative became Democrats believe Republicans are garbage. Democrats believe Republicans are trash. Democrats believe if you vote for Donald Trump, you are just a steaming pile of waste. All thanks to one off-the-cuff, offhanded comment by Joseph Robinette Biden Jr.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
I saw somebody write on Twitter/X. I guess I should probably just call it X. I got to next time I call it Twitter, somebody just come in here and slap me. Just slap me silly, because that's not even what's called. It's supposed to be called X. If I call it Twitter anymore, I need some sense knocked into me. But now I saw somebody write on X, one day our children will watch the video of Joe Biden calling Trump supporters garbage, and that will be the moment that Joe Biden single-handedly saved the country. because man, he's turning people that weren't even thinking about Donald Trump toward Donald Trump, because they don't like when a politician says half the country's trash.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Yeah, and that is truly a historic moment in a campaign that has been filled with historic moment after historic moment after historic moment. There is yet another one. Now, Donald Trump himself, of course, like I said, he loves taking matters into his own hands, and he loves the publicity stunt, the art of the publicity stunt, and he did something great. Donald Trump rented, I don't know if he rented or bought, I don't know if it was donated, I don't know how they got it, but within hours, Donald Trump and his campaign were able to procure a garbage truck.
Interrupt you for a moment. Stand by for a moment. Trump is answering some questions from reporters.
Joe Biden to make that statement, it's really a disgrace.
Now, I want you to understand what's going on here. Donald Trump is doing a press conference from a garbage truck. There's a video of it. This Dan Scavino took this video from the plane, from Trump Force One. They showed up, and look at that. There it is. The truck is ready to go. It's logoed. It's got American flags on it. It's got Donald Trump flags on it. They're pulling. And for those of you that have never flown private, and look, I'm one of them. I've never, that's my goal one day is I don't want to fly commercial. I'd love to fly private, but we're going to need some more super chats before that happens. But like, for those of you that have never flown private, what happens is when you land on the ground, your limousine drives up to the plane, and the limousine picks you up and takes you to your destination. Or if you rent a car, the car drives up to the plane, you get off the plane. Here in Wisconsin, in Green Bay, Donald Trump doesn't have a limousine. He's got a Trump trash truck. A Make America Great Again 2024 Loadmaster official Donald Trump trash truck, which means within hours of Joe Biden saying that all he sees, the only trash he sees floating around are Donald Trump supporters, within hours of that, his campaign was able to get a custom detailed Donald Trump trash truck. Tell me this isn't a group of people that can do anything. Tell me it's like the A-team. Do you remember on the A-team, they'd always say to Face, they'd be like, Face, we need this, Face, we need that. And Face would be like, where am I supposed to get that? They've got a Face man. And they are out there saying, it's like, what was it? The Shawshank Redemption. Remember, get busy living or get busy dying. And he goes, I hear you're a man that can get things. I need a rock hammer and a big gosh darn poster so I can tunnel my way out of here in the next 19 years. That's exactly what it is. He's red. They've got a red over there, a man who can get things, or a woman, I don't know. And they got this trash truck, and Donald Trump, man, he made the most of it. He got in there, and he held a press conference, and the first thing, of course, he said was,
how do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
How do you like my garbage truck? That's... One of the most, look, that's a former president. That's a future president. That's the leading candidate for the presidency right now. That's a guy who's leading in pretty much every swing state. That's a guy who may win the popular vote. And just days before the presidential election, just days before election day, he's sitting in an orange vest, riding shotgun in a garbage truck. And even CNN had to cut away.
Interrupt you for a moment. Stand by for a moment. Trump is answering some questions from reporters.
Joe Biden to make that statement, it's really a disgrace.
I mean, that is, and the reporters, they have no choice but to just hurl questions at him. They have no, he's like sitting there, he's the engine's going, he's way up top of them, he's got his arm out like some cool dude, and they're just yelling questions, and he's doing the, you, what do you want? You do, hey, listen, I got a question for you guys.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
How do you like my garbage truck? This garbage truck is in honor of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. That wasn't it. That was just the beginning, though. That was just the beginning because Donald Trump drove the truck a couple feet. They drove the truck to the rally. He got out of the truck at the rally. He walked into the rally. He was wearing his vest at the rally. And he didn't want to, by the way. He told a very funny story. Do you remember when Joe Rogan interviewed Donald Trump? Of course you do. By the way, Joe Rogan interviewed J.D. Vance yesterday. We'll get to that in just a minute. But Donald Trump, he sat down with Joe Rogan and they started talking. And Joe Rogan said, look, you've got amazing comedic talent. You've got amazing comedic timing. You are a funny guy. You have to be a funny guy to go through what you've gone through and come out the way that you've come out. And he said, when you told Hillary Clinton you'd be in jail, he goes, that was hilarious. I still laugh about that to this day. It was 8 years ago. And he goes, oh, you have great comedic timing. Well, listen to what Donald Trump said when he got on stage. This is the story of Donald Trump and his orange vest in Green Bay, Wisconsin at the Trump rally.
We drove about 2 feet. I got out, got into the plane. And then I got in the car and I'm driving over here and I have this still on. And I come into the arena and I say, where's my jacket? I want to get out of this thing. And they said, it would be unbelievable if you could wear it on stage. I said, and I said, no way. I got 25,000 people standing outside. I got all these people here. There's no way I'm wearing it on stage. They said, oh, okay, sir. I said, get me my jacket. But if you did, you know, it actually makes you look thinner. I said, oh. And they got me. I said, I want to wear it on stage.
Now that is Donald Trump talking about how, oh, I wasn't going to wear this. I wasn't going to wear this vest. I said, give me my jacket. I need my jacket. I want my jacket. I'm Donald Trump. I got to wear my jacket on stage. And they go, no, sir, you got to wear the vest. He goes, no, I'm not going to do that. You know how many people are waiting for me? They go, what makes you look thinner? Which it does. This doesn't, by the way, these vests do. I look huge. I look really large. I'm not really this large, but you know what it needs is like a belt. It needs a belt or something. Oh, speaking of costumes, by the way, if you're looking for a last minute Halloween costume, all you need is a white shirt, a red tie, and an orange vest, and you can get them at Home Depot for this was like $20, I think. But speaking of Halloween costumes, I just want to share with you this photo quickly. But this was a good friend of ours, has a son who is in 8th grade, and he is a big fan of this show. He's a big fan of Mark Kaye Saves the Republic. He listens every day, listens with his mom when they're in the car. He sends all his friends to go listen. And his dad wrote me a couple weeks ago and said, hey, I got a weird request for you. And I go, trust me, I've heard the weirdest of all. What do you got? And he goes, my son wants to be you for Halloween. And I go, oh, sounds like a great cause. He goes, here's the thing. I once told Tommy Lahren, because Tommy Lahren was like, oh my gosh, some girl wants to dress as me for Halloween. And I said, you've really made it. When somebody wants to be you for Halloween, when you become a Halloween costume, you've made it big. Well, just years later, I apparently am now in that same club because my friend's son wanted to be me for Halloween. So he came over and I go, I got a bunch of old Mark Kaye show stuff. I've got some things that maybe he could wear. You know, what size is he? He's like a little kid, so I don't even know if I had the size. But he came and he got a bag of stuff this morning. He's going to school dressed as me for Halloween. Look at this. This is the photo that his dad sent me. And it looks like it's got the flag. He's got the little flag and everything. Look at this. He's got the Patriot beanie, the dark shades, Mark Kaye Show t-shirt, the button. Look at this one. There he is. There he is with the big flag. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's a pretty good costume. This kid could be anything in the world for Halloween, and he chose to be me. So I'm very honored. Andrew, thank you so much. You look amazing, by the way. I told him, by the way, all you really need to do is shave your head, which he said he got a skull cap, and they wouldn't let him wear the skull cap to school. I don't really know why, but you know, I always went to school bald and nobody ever said anything. No one ever said anything to me, but thank you so much for the honor of being me for Halloween. If anyone wants to be me for Halloween next year, I think I have a couple small t-shirts left. All right, let's get back to it, shall we? Let's get back to Donald Trump, because Donald Trump, he's not just trolling Joe Biden. I mean, he is trolling Joe Biden. And he's not just trashing Kamala Harris, although he is trashing Kamala Harris. He's also making an important statement about the election just a few days before the election. And he's reminding everybody that politicians and presidents and people who are voted and elected and sent to serve at a certain electorate, whether it be at the state level or the city level or the national level, should not say anything mean or derogatory or bad or negative about the people that they're representing. And that's exactly what the Democrats do and have been doing over and over and over again. They've been calling us deplorables. They've been calling us bitter clingers. They've been calling us Nazis. Repeat, oh my God, I've never been called a Nazi so much in my entire life. And now they're calling us garbage. And Donald Trump drove a trash truck with his logo on it to the Wisconsin rally and stood on stage in a safety orange vest with reflective tape on it to prove and to remind everybody what a president should be.
And I have to begin by saying 250 million Americans are not garbage. This week, Kamala has been comparing her political opponents to the most evil mass murderers in history. And now, speaking on a call for her campaign last night, crooked Joe Biden finally said what he and Kamala really think of our supporters. He called them garbage. No way. No way. And they actually mean it, even though, without question, my supporters are far higher quality than Crooked Joe or Lion Kamala. Higher quality. My response to Joe and Kamala is very simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. That's true. You can't be president if you hate the American people, which I believe they do.
You can't be president if you hate the American people, which we believe they do. You know what? I have to take this hat off because it's giving me a little bit of a I'm getting a little sweaty. This fake hair is, I think it's polyester, and it makes it a little warm. But look, but he's absolutely right. He's saying 100%, you can't be president of the United States of America if you hate Americans. You can't be the leader of a country that you despise, whose constituents you have no respect for, and who you call Nazis, bitter clingers, deplorables, and garbage.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
250 million people out there that maybe are going to support Donald Trump. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how reckless they are with their language. And language is very important. If you say something, especially in this day and age, and you're being recorded, which I guess Joe Biden forgot he was being recorded. I guess maybe he forgot about how Zoom works. And that's something that's going to come back. And in fact, they say more than one person has said Joe Biden has lost Kamala Harris the election. More than one person is pointing to this instance and saying, this is it. Joe Biden has, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm pretty sure Kamala Harris was going to lose the election anyway. But now they're saying this is something that she's not going to be able to come back from. And whether it was purposeful on Joe Biden's part, which a lot of people still believe, or whether it was just an accidental Joe Biden gaffe, because they unfortunately let him talk to Voto Latino when they should have. What was it he's good at, CNN?
He's best getting ice cream in Maryland.
Oh yeah, when they should have just left him in Maryland eating ice cream. That's what Joe's not supposed to talk. We know that. You know what he does best?
He's best getting ice cream in Maryland.
I mean, can you imagine being president of the United States and having somebody, that's the way they describe you? Joe Biden, by the way, this is creepy, but this is creepy. Joe Biden, by the way, apparently Joe Biden is fed up with sticking his foot in his mouth. So he's decided he's going to stick other people's feet in his mouth. Actually, he's going to stick babies' feet in his mouth. This is Joe Biden at the White House for their annual Halloween, celebration where the babies come and God, I don't know who these irresponsible parents are that bring their kids to Joe Biden, but Joe Biden was caught on camera biting, nuzzling, sniffing, chewing, and eating the limbs of not one, not two, not like several, like all the babies. These women were lining up and they were bringing their babies to Joe Biden and they were standing there and they were letting him take up. Look at this. Joe Biden is literally, he's biting the baby. He's got the baby's leg in his mouth. He's got his teeth wrapped around. It's really, I mean, we've always known for a while that Joe Biden has been a little creepy, especially when it comes to kids. But look at this. Here's video of it. They put the Jaws theme on. They have the Jaws theme. Look at this. And there's a baby. Tasty baby. That is a good baby. And then he goes, yeah. Oh, it's a good smell. And this woman's just holding her baby there. This woman's just like, yeah, come on, look at it again. I don't know. I don't want to question anyone else's parenting skills, but I have to question this woman's parenting skills. I don't want to say she's putting her child in danger, but she's clearly putting her child in an uncomfortable situation. She wasn't the only one. Here's another one. Look at this. Joe Biden, this what is she, like a soda jerk? Brings her baby. He sticks the foot. And he's like, oh, I'm going to stick the foot in the mouth. That is disgusting on so many different levels. That is unsanitary. That is unhealthy. It's weird. I mean, again, we're the ones, according to the Kamala Harris campaign, who are weird. We're the ones when the leader of their party is sticking a baby's foot in his mouth. And not just one, here's another one. He's kissing the toesies. Who's this guy? This white dude for Kamala? He should, I want protective services, child protective services. There he is. I can imagine the conversation right now. Kamala going up to Joe and saying, stop sticking your foot in your mouth. You're ruining my campaign. And Joe Biden going, all right, hold my beer. Or I guess hold my ice cream. And he goes and he starts, look at this. Here's another poor baby. This woman is bringing a child to get eaten alive by the president of the United States. I don't even know. Is this like a rite of passage? Is this one of those weird things that people like to do? Like, they like speaking in tongues or handling serpents or something. It's like, is this like, if my baby can survive a night at the White House, it can survive anything. It's just so weird. It's like, these remind me of the parents that let their kids spend the night at Neverland when Michael Jackson was alive. It's just, I don't understand it. But that's Joe Biden. That's Joe Biden, the leader of the free world. And he says, by the way, that anybody who supports Trump is garbage.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
And then he has the nerve to go out and bite other people's children on the leg, suck on the toes of other people's kids, sniff and snortle and do this, that, and the other with these children that he does. They're not his. It's really, I mean, it's the hypocrisy is, I don't even know why they let this guy out. I guess they thought, well, you know what? He's not talking to anybody. He's not being recorded. Oh, when you're Joe Biden, you're always being recorded. When you're Joe Biden and we're this late in the campaign, somebody is always watching. It's like Monsters, Inc. I'm watching, always watching. I see you, Joe. I'm watching. What was that, Roz? Yeah, Roz. That's just, I just can't get over. That's the president of people supposedly voted for that guy. Thank God they took him off the ticket. Thank God they took him off the ticket and replaced him with Kamala Harris. Now, back to Donald Trump. Not only is Donald Trump going out there in a trash truck and making a play and turning the tables on Joe Biden's narrative.
How do you like my garbage truck?
Yeah, not only is he doing that, but he's also getting some really high-profile endorsements at the same time. One of them is from Green Bay great Brett Favre, who came out on stage. And I don't know if you've ever been to Green Bay, Wisconsin, but Brett Favre is like, there's like God, Brett Favre, and then Brett Favre again, and then like Trump. They love Brett Favre. Even though he went to the Vikings for that 1 or 2 seasons, whatever it was, they still love Brett Favre. So he comes out and he gives a speech, and listen to what he says.
I want to address the comment that Joe Biden made yesterday or last night that said the supporters of Donald Trump, us, or garbage, or garbage. I can assure you we're not garbage. How dare he say that looking out? I see police officers, teachers, nurses, grandparents, students. I see everyday Americans that make this country great.
You know, it's really interesting when you put it that way, because he says all these Trump supporters are garbage. But really, what is a Trump supporter? I'm a Trump supporter. My wife is a Trump supporter. Is she garbage? My son's voting for the first time this year. I assume he's voting for Donald Trump. I mean, is he garbage? What about all the people, the neighbors you have with their signs? What about all the people at the rally? You know how many great people I've met in the last, 8 years who are all supporters of Donald Trump? They are not garbage. What about internet influencer and YouTube sensation Jake Paul? Is he garbage? Because Jake Paul is endorsing Donald Trump for president. Trump 2024. He produced a YouTube video. Look at this. He produced a YouTube video. It's an 18-minute YouTube video called "Who I'm Supporting for President and Why You Should Too." And he's holding a sign that says Trump 2024. Now, I imagine I know the answer, but he spent 18 minutes endorsing Donald Trump on YouTube. I'll play a little bit of it. Here it is. Let's see. Oh, hold on. Let me pump the audio through the. Let me pump the audio here so you can. Here you go.
My career.
Here he is.
Nervous, scared to make this video because of what it means in terms of my career, my life, people coming after me, more accusations, more turmoil, more division potentially. However, I just want to provide information to the potentially undecided voter, the things that I have seen over the past couple of years that have led me in a certain direction as to who I am supporting in this presidential election. And
now that's interesting, because he said, listen, and there's a key to this. He says who he's supporting in this presidential election. You'll notice he didn't say who I'm voting for. There's a reason.
Encouraging y'all to actually vote, encouraging y'all to actually do your own research and to base that research in the truth, not just reckless propaganda or your favorite pop star telling you to vote.
Burn, Taylor. Burn, Taylor Swift. Take that, lady.
A certain way, and you believing them because you love their song. And with that said, after watching this video, you shouldn't necessarily just listen to me either. Do your own research before you go and vote, but I highly, highly, highly encourage you to exercise your right to vote. Because I moved to Puerto Rico in pursuit of becoming a world champion in my boxing career, I have rescinded my right to vote. But that doesn't mean I can't present my 80 million large audience with proper facts, numbers, and data to encourage them to vote in the proper direction.
All right, now listen. So here's Jake Paul, and he's saying, look, I went to Puerto Rico, so I don't get to vote because Puerto Rico is just a big pile of garbage. I'm totally kidding. I was quoting Kill Tony there. Come on. But anyway, he moved to Puerto Rico. He lives on the big floating pile of garbage. I'm sorry. I'll cut it out. And so he doesn't vote in the election. But he's like, you know what? I feel bad that I can't vote for Donald Trump. I feel bad that I can't support Donald Trump. So, hey, I'll sit down and I'll record a 20-minute video and I'll share it with my 80 million plus audience, and I'll encourage them to vote for Donald Trump. And I have to applaud Jake Paul for that, because if Jake Paul went out and voted, that's one vote. What Jake Paul's doing now is potentially influencing 80 million people to go out and vote. I assume that if you're following Jake Paul, you probably already know who you're going to vote for, or you're just too young to vote, in which case you should not vote at all. Nor should you go anywhere near Joe Biden, by the way, because if you're under 18, this is going to happen to you. I would not, and nor should you take anyone, if you're an adult, over to see Joe Biden if they're under 18. Let's get back to Jake Paul. So he can't vote. He's in Puerto Rico, but he's like, look, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna make my case
to quite literally save America.
We got to save America.
I'll start off with something that bothered me recently. Was Tony Hinchcliffe, a comedian who made a bad joke. Obviously, he's doing his job. trying to be funny, but him talking smack about Puerto Rico was not funny. And I want to shine a light on the...
By the way, the fact that he's sitting in like a multi-million dollar mansion in Puerto Rico. So yeah, clearly Tony Hinchcliffe's joke was not accurate. And of course, it was just a joke. So Jake Paul, Brett Favre both come out and they endorse Donald Trump. But I thought Donald Trump got other high-profile endorsements yesterday. For example, Bill Clinton, husband of Hillary Clinton, lover of Monica Lewinsky, and probably several other interns that we don't yet know about. Bill Clinton was out giving a speech, and he endorsed Donald Trump in a roundabout way by reminding everybody, hey, the economy was actually better under Trump.
I don't think it's right to say that people have to vote for Donald Trump because the economy is better there.
Did you hear that? It's a little muffled because he's old now. But he said, I don't think it's fair to say, or I don't think it's right to say people need to vote for Donald Trump because the economy was better then. We all know the economy was better under Donald Trump, but vote for Kamala Harris anyway? That's Bill Clinton's message. Bill Clinton's message is, hey, we know that Donald Trump's economy was better. We know that you had more money in your pocket. We know that you had lower taxes. We know that you had a higher salary. We know that your investments were more profitable, that your home was worth more. We knew that you could afford stuff like gas and groceries. You had more spending money. You could take your family on vacations. We know all of that. But that's no excuse. Yeah, I don't buy that excuse, though. Just because the economy was better under Donald Trump and he's going to make you richer doesn't mean you should vote for him.
I don't think it's right to say that people have to vote for Donald Trump because the economy is better there.
What is it? I mean, what is the... Okay, vote for Donald Trump because you'll be safer and crime will go down. Vote for Donald Trump because he'll close the border. Vote for Donald Trump because he's going to drill, baby, drill, and he's going to make us energy independent. And not only will the price of your fuel come down, but we'll be able to replenish our strategic oil reserve, which has been depleted by Joe Biden and his horrific policies. Not only that, we'll be able to, maybe export some oil to our allies so that we won't have to have them buy oil from our enemies, and thus our enemies will have less money. Our enemies won't have the money that we're giving them, that we're doling out every time we go to the Exxon station or the BP. Our enemies won't be flush with American cash, which they can use to go out and buy drones that they can use to bomb our military aircraft. I'm sorry, our military destroyers and attack our bases. We won't be. You know what it is? We won't have to give money to people who are going to fly into Israel on those paragliders and kill people. We won't have to give money to terrorists who are going to sneak across our border and become part of sleeper cells, just waiting for some kind of mass terrorist attack that they can implement and kill multiple Americans at the same time. That's what they want to do, and that's what they're doing. And Donald Trump tried to bankrupt Iran, successfully bankrupted Iran, and brought energy production back, not just as an economic policy, but as a national security policy, because it is a national security policy. Kamala Harris, they don't buy that. They don't believe it. They believe it's all an environmental policy. They believe that if they can save the environment by shutting down American oil production, we're all going to be copacetic. But in the meantime, the economy is tanked. The economy's crap. Gas prices are through the roof, and we are less safe because our enemies have all of those gas profits that we used to keep for ourselves. Man. Thank God Joe Biden tanked Kamala's campaign. I have to say a prayer for Joe Biden. Thank God they didn't just send him to Maryland to eat ice cream.
He's best getting ice cream in Maryland.
Thank God they allowed him on that Zoom call to say something that would destroy Kamala's campaign.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
What Joe Biden did right there is single-handedly save this country. I believe it more and more. I believe that with that comment, Joe Biden closed our borders. I believe that by calling all of Donald Trump's supporters garbage, Joe Biden has enabled the largest deportation effort in American history. I believe that Joe Biden is going to put more money in our pocket and lower our taxes. I believe that Joe Biden is going to make our enemies fearful of us again. He's going to strengthen our military. He's going to get the woke out of there. I believe that Joe Biden we should put Joe Biden on some of the money. That's how important Joe Biden torpedoing his vice president's presidential campaign is for the rest of us. But it's not just celebrities. It's also the important voters. Because let's face it, when it comes down to it, as Jake Paul said, don't worry about who your favorite celebrity's voting for. Don't worry about who Brett Favre says you should vote for, or Taylor Swift or Beyonce. Don't worry about any of that. Don't worry about the pop stars. Let's talk about the people. Who do the people want? Well, John King from CNN was also in Wisconsin, and he found some voters, and they used to vote for Democrats, but guess who they're voting for this time? Don't worry, you don't have to guess. I'll just tell you.
He grew up in a Democratic household, voted twice for Barack Obama, moved to the Milwaukee suburbs a decade ago.
Toppings, cold foams.
A self-described moderate ready to vote a third time for Donald Trump.
I just see that Donald Trump, from a business-minded standpoint, from a let's make a deal standpoint, and from an economics and financing perspective, I think he's got the right mindset for how the country should be run, how to support small and medium-sized businesses.
Are there downsides to him in your view?
Does he have some character or personality, things that go on? For sure. But I would say you have to separate the message from the messenger sometime.
Trump won suburban Waukesha County in both 2016 and 2020, but his margin was smaller the second time, and Wisconsin flipped back to blue. Deasy believes Trump is stronger this time.
I would say over the last, say, 6 to 12 months, definitely a large Trump bump, if you want to call it that.
I would concur with all those statements. Waukesha, Wisconsin went down for Trump a little bit. It's going to skyrocket. All of Wisconsin. Look, the early voting numbers, and we have some really baffling video from CNN that I'm going to get into. We have some baffling video from CNN. They did a 10-minute YouTube video breaking down how how Kamala Harris is going to lose and how nobody should be shocked when she does. It's amazing the way that CNN has turned on their once best bud, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, how they've, I guess, absconded or rescinded their role as the mouthpiece for the Democrat Party. And now they become truth tellers. It's really, I don't even understand it. We're going to get to all that polling information in just a minute. Also, Jimmy Kimmel may be going to jail. And we have some clips of Kamala Harris that I want to share with you because it shows the side of Kamala that Kamala is reacting like somebody who is frustrated and angry and knows the end is near, whereas Donald Trump is acting like somebody who knows that their best days are ahead of them. And we'll get to all that here in just a minute. I do want to share with you one thing though. Let me put my apron back on here. So when Donald Trump went to McDonald's and he wore the apron, what he did for McDonald's was McDonald's, the people started going there and eating again. It was record number of crowds. The drive-thrus were all packed. It was so big. This event was so big that Joe Biden had to call the CDC to go after McDonald's and say, hey, we need like a listeria outbreak or something. We need some kind of outbreak because McDonald's is way too popular and Donald Trump needs to be, Donald Trump needs to be put in his place. So Donald Trump went to McDonald's and he wore the apron and he handed out the fries, and it became really an iconic moment and one of the craziest moments and one of the coolest moments in any American political campaign ever. Well, look what we have now available on the Mark Kaye Shop. Our friends at Proud Patriots came up with this, and there's a link. If you go to markkshop.com, check this out. The official, let me go to the actual store here. The official MAGA Donald's workers cap. There it is. Official Trump MAGA Donald's ball cap. It looks like the McDonald's Golden Arches logo, but it says MAGA in the red with the gold. It's the official MAGA Donald's cap to celebrate one of the most iconic campaign events in history. This cap is so, I ordered one of these. It's on the way because I just love, I have a lot of, as you know, I have a lot of Trump caps. I have a lot of Trump hats. I have a lot of Make America Great Again hats. I do not have the MAGA hat with the McDonald's Golden Arches to commemorate Donald Trump working at McDonald's just earlier this month. So if you go to markkshop.com, and the link is in the description of this video. If you're on Rumble, click on that link. If you're wherever you are, I think I put it everywhere. Go to markkshop.com. You can click and get your official Trump MAGA Donald's ball cap. Click there and it'll take you to the order page. Now that's not all. Look what else we came up with. This is the official MAGA Donald's apron shirt. So if you want the costume without doing what I did and trying to track down the perfect red tie and the perfect McDonald's apron and the white shirt and everything else, you can just order this t-shirt. And this t-shirt, it's incredible. This t-shirt has everything you need already on there. MAGA Donald's, the apron, the tie, everything. So you can look just like Donald Trump did in the drive-thru window. And it's fantastic. Click there to order. It'll take you to the MAGA fast food shirt. There's a whole history of it. Own this MAGA fast food shirt. Select your size below. You can see this is what the front looks like. It looks like from the side. The back is all white. So from the rear, no one will see what you look like. But it is it's a great commemorative item from this election cycle. Whether you want the hat or whether you want the shirt or whether you want them both, whether you want to look like this all the time, go to markshop.com and get yours today. markshop.com. I put them right at the top of the page. Now this is an external link to a vendor. So I'm sorry, you cannot use coupon code birthday for 20% off, which I should probably take down anyway. But if you want to get anything else on the Mark Kaye shop, the coupon code happy birthday works. So if you want some of our brighter future collection items that use coupon code birthday, you're still going to get 20% off because I totally neglected to take that down. If you're like, I'm not a big MAGA Donalds fan, I prefer MAGA King. Great. We got the MAGA King shirts too. If you want the official Mark Kaye Saves the Republic merchandise, we've got all of that 20% off when you use coupon code birthday. But if you want this hat and if you want this t-shirt, I don't know how long they're going to last too, because these things tend to go pretty quick. markshop.com is where you go. markshop.com. Link is in the description of this video. I'm so excited to get, when I get mine, by the way, don't think I'm not going to be wearing it. All right, let's get to, where do we go first? Do we go to Kamala Harris trying to, yeah, I guess we should go to Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, she's in dire straits. She's in deep, man. She knows that the end is near. And, well, you know what? Maybe we should go to the polls first. All right, let's go to the polls first. Kamala Harris knows that the end is near, and she knows that she's in dire straits, and she knows that her career is almost over. How does she know all of this? Well, because CNN told her. Look at it. This is from Huffington Post. CNN data reporter spots 3 obvious signs that could point to Donald Trump win. 3 obvious signs. Now, I've been pointing out obvious signs that Donald Trump's going to win this election for what seems like forever, but let's go to the Huffington Post. CNN senior political data reporter Harry Enton on Wednesday suggested the signs all along will have been obvious if former President Donald Trump wins the 2024 election. Enton cited voter satisfaction polls with the direction of the country, President Joe Biden's current poor approval rating, and Republican registration numbers as key factors that could, in hindsight, be used to explain a Trump victory. I'm going to break this down for you. I'm going to play for you everything that this guy said because this is important. Remember, this is CNN. This is their lead polling strategist. This is him telling everybody Donald Trump is going to win this election. And when he does, you have only yourself to blame because the signs were there all along. And the first sign, and he went back into history. This isn't just recent polling because, you know, the way to read polling, and our good buddy Mark Mitchell from Rasmussen, he told us this. He said, you can't just look at a poll. You've got to look at the historical accuracy of the poll. That's how we know in Pennsylvania, there's a 5-point swing for the Democrat. In most of the last few, Pennsylvania polls, the Democrat is led by 5 points. In 2016, Hillary Clinton led by 5 points, but she lost the state to Donald Trump. So Donald Trump, when he's reported to be neck and neck with Kamala Harris at 48-48 in Pennsylvania, really has a 5-point advantage, and it's probably more like 53-43. He's probably dominating. That's the stuff they don't want to tell you. But Harry Enton from CNN went back into the archives. He went deep, man, and look at what he found out about these 3 factors that make it obvious that Kamala Harris is going to lose and Donald Trump is going to win.
Look, just 28% of Americans, voters, think the country is going in the right direction, is on the right track. And I want you to put that into a historical perspective for you. Okay, what's the average percentage of the public that thinks that the country is on the right track when the incumbent party loses? It's 25%. That 25% looks an awful bit like that 28% up there. It doesn't look anything like this 42% doesn't look anything like this 28%. So the bottom line is, very few Americans think the country is on the right track at this particular point. It tracks much more with when the incumbent party loses than with it wins. In fact, I went back through history. There isn't a single time in which 28% of the American public thinks the country is going on the right track in which the incumbent party actually won.
There isn't a single time in history, in all of history. Harry Enton, CNN, they go back in history. Let me pull this up again. They go back in history and they try to find another time in history when the incumbent party, Joe Biden, Joe Baby Biter Biden. They try to go back and say, hey, Joe Biden's at 28%. 28% of the United States of America, 28% of voters, 28% of Americans think the United States is on the wrong track. Have we ever had a presidential election in the history of our great country where 28% think the country's on the right track and the incumbent party wins? No, because Americans aren't that stupid, no matter what Kamala Harris and Bill Clinton want you to think. Bill Clinton wants you to think that you know the economy was better under Donald Trump, and you know the economy will be better under Donald Trump, but vote for Kamala Harris anyway. And he thinks there's dolts out there going, yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, there are dolts out there doing that, but not many. 28% say the country's on the right track. That's almost 1 in 4. And they're like, this has never happened. No incumbent has ever won with those kind of numbers. And if you look historically, there's more bad news for Kamala Harris, Joe Biden and the Democrats, and more great news for liberty, love, and freedom defending patriot garbage like us. Listen to this.
Back in 2008, George W. Bush, his approval rating was down in the 20s. Did a Republican succeed George W. Bush? No. How about in 1968? Lyndon Baines Johnson, his net approval rating was negative. Did a Democrat succeed Lyndon Baines Johnson? No. How about in 52? Harry S. Truman, his approval rating was in the 20s, if not the upper teens. Did a Democrat succeed Harry S. Truman in 52? My memory, no.
No. None of those times. And look at this. He goes back through every single one of these polls. It's amazing. It's amazing when you look at the presidential approval rating
back in
through history. Truman had a negative approval rating where less than Joe Biden's is, but there was no Democrat that followed him. Johnson, same way. Bush, same way. Joe Biden cannot have a Democrat follow him up because, again, his policies are Kamala Harris's policies. It's even worse for her because it's not like some new Democrat is coming in going, you know what, I disagree with all these policies. It's the same Democrat. It's the same policies. It's the same White House. Joe Biden basically stepped aside and put in a worse version of himself with the hopes of winning back the presidency. But again, I don't think Joe Biden wanted to win back the presidency. I'm pretty sure that Joe Biden wanted to tank the Democrats. I'm pretty sure that when Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer walked into the Oval Office and threatened him with the 25th Amendment or threatened to release some weird and bizarre text messages or threatened to release photos of him biting their babies. Oh, wait, never mind. They don't care. They don't care about that. They're fine. They put that kind of stuff on Twitter. Yeah, they're fine with baby biting. I imagine when Joe Biden was forced out of office by his own people, that he and most likely his devious and dubious and diabolical wife, Dr. Jill Biden, and his crack smoking, gun toting, non-tax paying son, Hunter Biden, I imagine the three of them got together and said, you know what, fine. We'll go, but we are not going to go quietly. We'll go, but we are burning the house down. We'll go, but we are taking them all down with us. They don't want Kamala Harris. We're going to endorse Kamala Harris. They don't think Kamala Harris can win. We're going to make sure she's the candidate, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure she loses. And that's exactly that's the playbook they're running. There's no other explanation. But there's yet a third reason why CNN believes it's totally obvious that Kamala Harris is going to lose and Donald Trump is going to be victorious.
Republicans have been registering voters in big, huge numbers. They have been gaining in party registration versus the Democrats in the swing states with party registration. We're talking Arizona. I think it's a 5-point. They've expanded their lead from 5 points from where it was back in 2020. How about Nevada? Big Republican registrations there. They like the early vote. How about North Carolina? Big Republican registration games. How about Pennsylvania? We spoke about it before a few months ago. Big Republican party registration gains versus from where they were 4 years ago. So Republicans are putting more Republicans in the electorate. The Democratic number versus the Republican number has shrunk. And so the bottom line is, if Republicans win come next week, Donald Trump comes next week, the signs all along will have been obvious. We would look at the right direction being very low, Joe Biden's approval rating being very low, and Republicans really registering numbers. You can't say you weren't warned.
If Donald Trump wins next week, it was fairly obvious why he did. CNN reporting. When Donald Trump wins next Tuesday or Wednesday or a week from then, whenever it happens to be, whenever we get the final numbers, whenever we know Donald Trump has surpassed the 270 electoral vote limit needed, the requirement to become the next president of the United States, as soon as that moment hits, we'll know why. Because according to CNN, the signs were obvious. The signs were 3/4 of the country believes we're on the wrong track. 3/4 of the country, 75% of Americans say we're on the wrong track. We're going the wrong way. We are going full speed toward a cliff, and the engineer is Joe Biden. And the confidence in Joe Biden is also historically low. And never before in history has somebody, a president with historically low confidence like that, ever had a member of his same party follow him up. Never before has any president or any poll that shows the country believes, and the majority of the Americans believe we're on the right track, shown that the incumbent stays in office. And then most importantly, Republicans, thanks to Scott Pressler and a bunch of other people, have been outpacing Democrats. They're making more Republicans. They're out there and they're making more Republicans, and they're making more Republicans faster than they can make more Democrats. And I know what you're thinking, but Mark Kaye, they brought all these illegals in, like millions and millions of illegals have come into the border. And I have a question. Aren't they all voting? Well, you would think so. But the Supreme Court stepped in yesterday and did something that was glorious in the state of Virginia. And the Supreme Court stayed the order in Virginia and allowed the voter rolls to be purged of illegal immigrants. Supreme Court's conservative justices leave in place Virginia's purge of voter registrations. This is from the AP. Now, this is one of the worst written headlines because it's not the Supreme Court's conservative justices. It's the Supreme Court's justices. And they leave in place Virginia's. It's not a purge of voter registrations. It's a purge of illegal immigrants, illegal aliens who have no right to vote, who are on the voter registration polls. The Supreme Court's conservative majority on Wednesday left in place Virginia's purge of voter registrations that the state says is aimed at stopping people who are not U.S. citizens from voting. What do you mean that the state says? If you're not a U.S. citizen, you shouldn't be on the voter roll. Why is this even a Supreme Court case? Well, because the Democrats sued Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin. It's true. The High Court, over the dissents of the 3 liberal justices, shocker, granted an emergency appeal from Virginia's Republican administration led by Governor Glenn Youngkin. The court provided no rationale for its action, which is typical in emergency appeals. You don't need a rationale other than the Constitution to say illegal immigrants should not be voting. The justices acted on Virginia's appeal after a federal judge found that the state illegally purged more than 1,600 voter registrations in the past 2 months. Now, what happened is, Youngkin said voters who believe they were improperly removed from the rolls can still vote in the election because they have same-day registration. And so there is the ultimate safeguard in Virginia. No one is being precluded from voting, and therefore I encourage every single citizen to go vote. But the problem is that in the state of Virginia, you have a lot of illegals who are on the voter rolls, and you have Democrats from the White House, from the DNC, from Kamala Harris's campaign, suing to keep illegal immigrants on the voter roll. They're suing to make sure that people who cannot legally vote are not purged from the voting roll. Why would they do that? Why would you want an illegal alien to be able to go into a voting booth or a voting location and find their name on the registration so that they might, accidentally get a ballot? Why would you want something like that? The Supreme Court didn't want it. And that's why they put in place this order. Wednesday, October 30th, the application for stay presented to the Chief Justice and by him referred to the court is granted. The October 25th, 2024 order of the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia, blah, 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 is stayed pending the disposition of the appeal in the United States Court of Appeals. Look at the bottom, though. This is the important part. Oh, right here. Justice Sotomayor, Justice Kagan, and Justice Jackson would deny the application. They talk about Donald Trump handpicking. They always say Donald Trump, Kamala loves to say this. She goes, Donald Trump handpicked Supreme Court justices to help him overturn Roe v. Wade. Donald Trump handpicked Supreme Court justices to help spread his abortion bans. First of all, that's what you do. There's no other way. Every president has handpicked their Supreme Court justices. When Barack Obama picked Sonia Sotomayor and Elena Kagan. Did he hold a raffle? Did he throw a dart at a wall? No, he handpicked them. He looked at them. He saw their voting record. He saw if there was anything in their past that might disqualify them. He prepared them. He went over this. He went over that. And he handpicked Elena Kagan and Sonia Sotomayor. When Donald Trump became president, guess what? He did what every single president before him who ever chose a Supreme Court nominee did. He handpicked them. Yet Kamala Harris makes it look... You know what would be worse? Is if a president didn't handpick a Supreme Court nominee and they just let it up. I don't know. They did like a Twitter poll or an X poll. Oh, shoot. So you got to slap me. But Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, and Ketanji Brown Jackson, Supreme Court justices placed on the bench by Democrats, Joe Biden and Barack Obama. They put these people on the bench. And these people were, to use Kamala Harris's words, handpicked to make sure that illegal aliens can stay on the voting roll because they denied the application for a stay. If it were up to them, if there were a handful more, like just a couple more justices that thought like Elena Kagan and Sonia Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson, if there were just a couple more of those DEI justices on the bench, you'd have a lot of illegal aliens on the voter roll in Virginia, and not just Virginia, but all the other states, because now that this is the Supreme Court's law of the land, now that there is a precedent for it, these kinds of voter rolls and these kinds of names can come off of voter rolls all over the country. Kamala Harris is freaking out. She's so annoyed. She can't handle it. She's so angry. She's so upset that she is screaming and yelling again when people try to talk over her. She was at a rally yesterday, and you know what always happens? There's protesters start or somebody yells something from the crowd, and she yells out, "I am speaking." Well, this time you can sense this is a level of anger we have not seen in Kamala Harris.
Look, everybody has a right to be heard, but right now I am speaking.
Look, her voice cracked and everything. She had the crackly voice and everything. She was like not having it. She was so upset.
Right now, I am speaking.
I am speaking. And maybe her voice cracked because she's angry. Maybe she's frustrated. Maybe she sees all of the polls. Maybe she sees her good buddy Frank Luntz. Frank Luntz. Man, Frank Luntz is no friend to the Republican Party. He's one of the worst pollsters. If you ever watched Tucker Carlson, Tucker Carlson has done hours and hours about Frank Luntz and how you should never listen to Frank Luntz and how Frank Luntz is the worst and Frank Luntz is wrong but Frank Luntz isn't even helping Kamala Harris out. Listen to Frank Luntz yesterday. You want to talk about somebody who's frustrated?
Because it reminds me so much of 2016, and I think there are a lot of similarities right now between this campaign and that campaign. The divisions in the country were significant back then. People didn't think Trump had a chance back then. He's been gaining and gaining. The momentum, I don't know who's going to win. I can't call it, and nobody should, because statistically and polling and focus groups, it is way too close to call. However, the momentum is clearly, in what I see and what I hear, is in his favor. And so every word, every phrase, every misstep, every gaffe matters as those last remaining persuadables make their decision. I don't believe in the undecided anymore. I don't believe there's undecided.
He doesn't believe in the undecided. He's looking at the persuadables. And you know what the persuadables are looking at? They're looking at Joe Biden.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
And that's not helping Kamala Harris because she sees what's happening in Michigan. Look at this Fox News clip from these Michigan voters.
Well, I thought that was a bunch of garbage is what I thought. I thought, oh my gosh, first we're deplorables and now we're garbage? No way. We are the heartbeat of America. We are the United States of America. We are the patriots. We need to get Trump back in office is what I think.
Well said. Man, how Michigan is she? Oh, I heard, you know what it told me? It told us a bunch of garbage is what it was. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I'm not voting for Kamala Harris. No, we need Trump back. I do really love that kind of Michigan UP kind of, the Uper. It doesn't matter. Try some Saginaw fudge. It's the best fudge there is, Anyway, but that's neither here nor there. But that's Michigan. We already saw what's happening in Wisconsin. Frank Luntz is going, there's this enthusiasm for Donald Trump. There's no enthusiasm for Kamala Harris. There's none whatsoever. And that's why Kamala Harris is exhausted. And that's why she's just falling apart. We know she's exhausted. We know she's falling apart because remember, We're watching, always watching. And we were even watching, or the cameras were watching, when Kamala Harris was on the helicopter. And she looks like she's, oh, there's a big yawn. Big yawn. That's what I say to my dog when they make a big yawn. And there's someone's trying to talk to her, and she's like, I don't have time for this. She's half asleep. She's passing out. I mean, that is not somebody with the energy to continue to campaign. That is somebody who's like, please, God, let it be next Wednesday. Oh, big yawn. Big stretch. Who else says that to their dog, right? If you ever say big yawn to your dog, let me know. Let me know in the comments. She's cooked, man. She's done for. She's looking at the poll numbers. She's watching Joe Biden tank her career. She's seeing what all these people are saying. She's getting more and more protesters, and she's snapping at the protesters.
Look, everybody has a right to be heard, but right now I am speaking.
And now she's sleeping on the plane because she's just done. That is what someone looks like when they are done with it all. They just want out. They are just it's too much for them to handle. And if she can't handle the campaign, there's no way she's going to be able to handle the presidency. And according to Frank Luntz and according to CNN, it doesn't matter because she's not going to have to handle the presidency. She's not going to have to worry about the presidency. That's why they're trying to keep these voters on the rolls. That's why Kamala Harris and the Democrat voter, look, the Democrat Supreme Court justices and the Democrat Party, they want to keep illegal voters on the rolls because they're running out of options. And if a couple of votes sneak through, oh, well, who knows? There was a case in Michigan. Let me see if I can find this quickly. There was a case in Michigan where they found multiple votes by the same voter ID, and they found it in the computer. Luckily, Lara Trump, who's co-chair of the RNC, got word of it and was able to investigate, and they got there. And this is why the ground game is so important. This is why it's so important to have lawyers and investigators and poll watchers and people who know what's going on. This is what happened. They went in there and they found that there was a voter database. Here it is. Look at this. Look at this. After reviewing the qualified voter file of votes actually cast as of yesterday, October, the database identifies 114,000, blah, blah, blah. But look at this. If you can see in here, all of these votes were recorded on the same day, and it's the same voter ID. 1596-07018, 1596-07018, 1596-07018, over and over and over and over again. Over again. We immediately investigated and have confirmed that it was a glitch in the system. These duplicates were not and will not be counted. Are we sure? We want to make sure. One voter ID with 29 separate votes already? Yeah, nothing wrong there. All good. Move along. That's just in Michigan. That's just in one precinct in Michigan. Kamala Harris is so distraught. She's looking for she needs any help she can get. So you know who else they're turning to? They're turning to Hollywood. They're turning to their friends on late night, like Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy, I hate Donald Trump more than anyone in my life, Kimmel, who said this on his show yesterday.
Vote early, vote early. If you can't vote early, vote on time. If you want to vote for Trump, vote late, vote very late. Do your voting on Thursday or maybe Friday. This will be my third time voting against Donald Trump. Fifth, if you count the 2 times he was nominated for an Emmy for a reality show host.
That's Jimmy Kimmel joking about Trump voters voting late. Vote on Thursday, vote on Friday, vote as late as possible. That's him telling Trump voters or potential Trump voters, garbage, to not vote on Election Day, but wait until after Election Day. And that is election interference. Not only is it election interference, but it's illegal. It's a crime that is punishable by prison and a massive fine. And we know that because it happened to a conservative social media influencer. I don't know if you remember the story of Douglas Mackey. Douglas Mackey was, that's Joe Biden eating a baby. Here's Douglas Mackey. Douglas Mackey, Breitbart reports, conservative social media influencer Douglas Mackey convicted of election interference. Why? Because the DOJ with Merrick Garland went after him. They went after him. They went after his First Amendment rights. They flushed him down the toilet. They threw him in prison. Conservative social media influencer Douglas Mackey, also known as Ricky Vaughn, was convicted of election interference in the 2016 presidential race after posting a satirical meme on Twitter. Satire. What did he do? He posted a meme telling Hillary Clinton voters that you could text your vote. Douglas Mackey was just found guilty of a federal crime. The lady on the right has never been arrested for her tweet. That's another thing. The conservative meme maker is now facing a maximum of 10 years in prison. Mackey has been found guilty by a jury of his peers of attempting to deprive individuals from exercising their sacred right to vote for the candidate of their choice in the 2016 election by posting a meme saying, hey, you know what? You can vote via text message. You can vote via text message. And people fell for it, and now he's in jail. Well, guess what Jimmy Kimmel's doing? Jimmy Kimmel is telling people you can vote after Election Day.
Vote early, vote early. If you can't vote early, vote on time. If you want to vote for Trump, vote late, vote very late. Do your voting on Thursday or maybe Friday. This will be my third time voting against Donald Trump.
Is Jimmy Kimmel going to face the same consequences? Is Merrick Garland and the DOJ right now putting together some kind of investigative order? Are they looking at Jimmy Kimmel's comments, which are identical? Hey, did you know you could text in your vote for Hillary Clinton? Here's the number. Hey, did you know that you could vote on Thursday and Friday of next week for Donald Trump? Yeah, try it. It's election interference. Either way you look at it, one will be investigated and prosecuted, one will not. Because one was against Hillary Clinton, a Democrat candidate, and the other is against Donald Trump. And if you joke about Donald Trump, it's just a joke. But if you joke about Hillary Clinton, or if you joke about the Democrat Party, or if you joke about Puerto Rico, man, you are a Nazi sympathizing piece of garbage.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Yeah, and you deserve to be thrown. You deserve to be thrown in jail. It's going to be an interesting few days. Now, we are, of course, like I said, going to be going live every single day till Election Day. And on Election Day, man, I am so stoked for our party. I haven't checked yet to see how many people are coming, but I know it's a lot of people. If you haven't yet made plans, please make sure that you make plans to join us for our Election Day party. If you go to our Facebook page, look at this. We have 177 people. 39 people are going. That's fantastic. Now, that really means you look at that, you go, that's 40 people, and it's basically 80 people because nobody goes to these things alone. So it's a minimum of 80 people already. That's not including the 5 4-tops that we sold as part of our VIP package, which is another 20. So we're at like 100 people already. And then there's 138 people who are interested. Bobby Smith, Augur Duvall, Ellen Sheffield, all these people are coming out, hopefully. Make sure, if you're interested, make sure that you put it on your calendar because we're going to be at Sneakers. We're going to be at Sneakers, Jacksonville Beach. It's fantastic. We're going to have we were just ordering little, flags and things for the table. We're doing a live stream too, because a lot of people have been asking, they're like, Mark, hey, I have a question. How do I watch this thing? Well, it's really easy. Look, it's a watch party, which means if you're going to be there live, you can come live and you can watch the fun. If you can't be there live, don't worry. We will be live right here on this very platform. If you're watching on Rumble, sup Rumble, you can watch us live on election night starting at 7 p.m. If you're watching live on YouTube, check it. You can watch us live on YouTube at election night from Sneakers starting at 7 p.m. Same is true of X, same is true of Getter, same is true of Facebook, same is true of all our fantastic platforms where we bring you Mark Kaye Saves the Republic each and every day. We'd love for you to come out live and experience the show. There's going to be some free appetizer bites courtesy of Sneakers. There's going to be Tito's vodka specials, which if you're into Tito's vodka, I'm all about that. And there's going to be a lot of camaraderie and a lot of fun. And we're going to go till like at least 11 if we have a feeling like we know who's going to be president, if we have a feeling like maybe we'll get an idea of who's going to be president later on, then we'll keep going. We are legally allowed to stay there till 2 a.m. And, I don't have a job, so we can do whatever our little hearts desire. So I would say to you, the best thing to do to make sure that you're part of this, either in person or online, is to subscribe right now. Whatever channel you're watching, whatever network you're tuned into. If you love this show, if you just stumbled upon it, if you want more of it, if you've been watching forever, you're like, yeah, I got to remember to subscribe. Now's the time. Hit the button, set the notifications, tell your iTunes, tell your podcast platform, I want more Mark Kaye Saves the Republic. I want it every single day. Let Facebook know because Facebook is not a big fan of this show. So you've got to really let them know you are. And hopefully they'll bring it to you and come out and join us. Again, don't forget also, if you're looking for the official not my actual costume, but the official MAGA Donald's hat and t-shirt, go to markkshop.com and there's a link to both of them. The official Trump MAGA Donald's ball cap, which you can order. It's the red cap with the golden arches. It's high quality. It looks really great. It's got one of those buckles in the back, not the plastic. Like it's legit. And as you can tell, it's got MAGA in the McDonald's. It's fantastic. You can also get the shirt too. You can also kick it. Look at that. You can kick in the shirt and go to Mark K Shop for links to both of those. You can look just like I look in your MAGA apron. Very, very exciting. Listen, folks, I got to go change back into my vest, and I have to find a trash truck before tonight because now that I've switched costumes, now that I'm going to go as Donald Trump. Let me switch back real quick. Yeah, here we go. Now that I've decided that I'm going to be going as Donald Trump trash man, I need to go and find myself a, where is it? Look, I need to go and find myself a trash truck. Or I'm sorry, it's a garbage truck because we're not trash, we're garbage truck. But I got to go find one.
How do you like my garbage truck?
Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm a little envious. But listen, have a safe and happy Halloween. Take some time out. Try to put aside all the election stuff. Don't worry about the country. We're going to take care of it. Go out trick-or-treating with the kids or stay home and hand out candy, whatever it is that you do traditionally. Bob for the apples. You know, I don't know. There's Jell-O shots in my neighborhood. There's one house, they give out Jell-O shots. I know that's like a thing. It's like candy for the kids, Jell-O shots for the adults. But anyway, whatever you're doing this tonight, have a great time and enjoy it. And don't worry because we're close. We're going to be back tomorrow at noon. We're going to be back Saturday and Sunday. We're going to be here Monday. And then, of course, Tuesday's the big day, election night, the night that we get together and cast our ballots, if you haven't already, which hopefully you have, the night that we get there and we count the ballots, and hopefully only legal ballots will be counted and there won't be any more duplicates like we saw in Michigan. Hopefully we will, state by state, start to see that liberty-loving, freedom-defending patriots are coming together and casting their ballots for Donald Trump. Hopefully we'll see that in red states like Florida and Tennessee and Oklahoma, and Texas, we're getting the massive amount of Nazi sympathizing deplorable garbage that the Democrats don't want out to the polls, and that the Democrats are flipping their votes to vote for Donald Trump because they know he's the only way forward. Hopefully we start to see in some other states like New Hampshire and Virginia and even New Mexico, all these other states, New York even, we start to see that the polls are turning red, that the states themselves are changing politically, that everybody realizes we can no longer go forward. We can't go forward with Kamala Harris. We can't go forward with 4 more years of Joe Biden. Bill Clinton knows it.
I don't think it's right to say that people have to vote for Donald Trump because the economy was better there.
Yeah, we know. The Bill Clinton knows the economy was better with Donald Trump, and it's not fair to say that you should vote for him just for that reason. Okay, fine. There's a myriad of other reasons. And that's why what I believe we're going to see is a windfall, a landslide, a mandate like we haven't seen in decades. What I believe we're going to see is the United States of America finally coming together, unified, and kicking the demons out of the church. We're going to exorcise the demons that have been floating around the Church of the United States of America, aka the White House, aka the halls of the Senate, and hope to God we can continue to keep them out of the House of Representatives. Because man, if we all do what we've been wanting to do, if we can all get Donald Trump in office with a Republican Senate, with a Republican House of Representatives, with a solid 5-justice secure majority on the Supreme Court, we can, in record time, faster than you can say, how do you like my garbage truck? We can and we will save the Republic.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
I just love that. I just love that. I just love that clip.